Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Joan Woodward, President of the Travelers Institute. Welcome to Wednesdays with Woodward. I'm here in downtown Hartford today, and let me tell you how good it feels to be in person again. So thank you all for joining us, and we're going to have a terrific program for you today. Something a little different. We're not going to talk about insurance, so get ready for that. Before we get started, I'd like to share our disclaimer about today's program just for a moment. And also a very big thanks to our partners today, the MetroHartford Alliance, the American Property and Casualty Insurance Association, and the Connecticut Business and Industry Association. So thank you to our partners. I'm thrilled to be here today really to discuss an event that I and many of us, especially in Connecticut, look forward to each year. The Travelers Championship Golf Tournament, the largest professional sporting event in the state of Connecticut. This June, once again, many of the world's top golfers will descend on Connecticut for a thrilling week of golf and entertainment too. It all happens at the TPC River Highlands, the award-winning golf course in Cromwell, Connecticut. So joining me on stage live and in person in a few moments are two individuals who are instrumental in making sure that the Travelers Championship is best in class and world class to showcase our terrific state of Connecticut. So Andy Bessette, who is the Executive Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer, sometimes we call him our Chief Golf Officer here at Travelers, will be joining me. Also, we're going to hear from the tournament director himself, Nathan Grube, and Nathan is a very good friend of the family, and we're just so thrilled that they can both be here today. So a few weeks ago, we visited TPC River Highlands, and preparations are really underway already for our event that will happen in just a month. So we brought some of our camera crew, and we talked to a number of the clubhouse employees, the grounds crew, and others who make the event such a successful event every year. So get ready. In the next 10 minutes, we are going to show you what we found at TPC River Highlands, and talking to the restaurant owner there, talking to the clubhouse manager, going inside the locker rooms, going on the green, talking about cutting the grass. It's all in this short video. So get ready to watch that. And then Nathan and Andy will join me on stage, and we'll have a live chat, and we're going to take your questions. So put your questions in the Q&A. And also, my friends, if you're wondering, over the last 2 years, you saw my head. And I actually have a body attached to my head. So it's really great to be with you today. You have a terrific program. And hey, let's go ahead and roll that video.
Hi everybody, I'm Andy Bessette, Executive Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer of Travelers, or as Alan Stitzer likes to call me, the Chief Golf Officer of Travelers. We're here today to meet up with Nathan Grube, our Tournament Director of the Travelers Championship, and give you a quick inside the ropes tour of TPC River Highlands, which is where the Travelers Championship is played every June. So let's go on inside and take a look. Hi Nathan.
Hey Andy.
How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Thanks for being here today and joining me to give everybody a great tour of this brand new clubhouse in preparation for the Travelers Championship.
I never get tired of showing this off, right? I mean, you remember it was built in 19 and you think like here in just a couple weeks, the best players in the world walking through that front door, registering right here, they're excited about the Travelers Championship. So it's a pretty cool place, they like it a lot.
And what a player field we have this year. Yeah. Scotty Scheffler, #1 in the world, Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, walking right where we are.
They literally walk through these steps, come through that door, and it's fun to see the the looks on volunteers when they go, oh, I've seen you on TV, you look exactly the same, but to have the top player field come right through where we're walking, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Course Grill 58, named after that historic round by Jim Furyk in 2016, where he set the PGA Tour record for the lowest score ever.
Yeah, what an exciting day that was. Everybody was running around, it was so exciting. Nathan, you know what? This is one of the special places in TPC River Highlands. Nobody gets to see this, except for the players, during tournament week. Can you tell us a little bit about the interactive wall and why it's here?
Sure. I mean, you go back to the old clubhouse, and there was a sign, the Travelers Championship basically is played here. It was kind of cool. People walked in and like, oh, hey, the tournament's here. But this, when they built the new clubhouse, just became something totally different. It tells the story of the tournament year-round, past champions, this interactive wall here. You can go through and see who the champions were. You can see which charities benefit from the tournament. It tells their story. You can hit play on the video. You can actually make a donation to those charities right here. So, you know, it looks at a lot of our sponsors for the tournament. So it's one of those things where it tells the story of what the Travelers Championship is about year-round, you know, and that's pretty cool to see. Well, you want to go say hey to David Corrado, the GM of the club?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
So this is now, we're getting into the locker room area, David. You know, this is the second home for the players for the week, which is really, really cool. Maybe you can tell us just a little bit about what goes on in here during tournament week.
Sure. You know, for the players, their office is the golf course or the practice facility. Coming into the locker room here, it's a safe haven. It's a place to relax and unwind a little bit in between rounds. So that's what we try and provide here. Now, that being said, they're competitive out on the golf course, but they're equally competitive here on the pool table. Frankly, it's the ping pong even more so than the pool. See some really good competitive matches down here.
Well, I think the biggest testament of that is when you see the guys come off the golf course, you know, tens of thousands of fans, you know, they're all over them. The media's all over them. They're very buttoned up, very polished. They come down here, hat comes off, sunglasses, they untuck their shirt, they grab a sandwich, like they just kind of take a deep breath and they exhale.
Well, we try to provide services to make life easy on them. These guys are on the road for half the year, probably at least. Things like laundry service or equipment storage or luggage storage or you name it. Certainly the locker room attendants play a role in that as well. Speaking of the lockers, let me show you another little area over here. Each player gets assigned a locker for the week. Now, this first bay of lockers here is what we call Champions Row or Champions Bay. And all of our past champions that are coming back to play in the event get a locker assigned in this area.
That's really cool to see that, and you think about some of the history and some of the champions that are in here, and all those guys in here during tournament week, right? You know, the last 14, 15 years with Travelers' title, you know, they're all collected here. Just the history is pretty cool to see.
Also, I think I saw Jeff Reich, our director of agronomy, outside on the putting green. Maybe let's take a walk out there and see what the agronomy team's doing in preparation.
Great. Sounds great. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for being with us today. We appreciate you taking the time to come out with us. What do you do differently here during tournament week versus the rest of the year for the club members?
Andy, great question, and great to have you here as well. Before the tournament, a few things we're doing different. You know, we maintain the turf both morning and night versus just a morning mow for our membership. There's a few different things that we use as metrics to test how the greens play, how the fairways play, how the tees hit from. And that gives us, hey, we might need to roll the greens another roll, or we might need to mow the greens, give them another mow.
And I have to tell you, a good thing you cut the fairways at night during tournament week, because that gets me the chance to come out on Saturday night for the last 10 years and cut one of the fairways with you, which is a highlight of my week.
And that fairway always plays a little bit better. So we appreciate you taking the time to come out there because it's also a highlight of mine.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
Well, I mean, the guys never see this, right? What goes into making sure that this surface is just perfect for them to show the world their craft? And it's, I mean, you do this year round. I mean, this is a 12-month-year job.
It is. It's a 12-month job. And during that time, we have a staff of 30 and a team of 70 volunteers. So almost 100 people that we do to set up this golf course versus during in-season, it's only 30 on a routine basis.
Nathan, I think we have to move over to the first tee and meet up with Mark Moriarty.
Great. Sounds good. Let's
Jeff,
go.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you guys.
Roll mine
I'm
into the
really,
hole.
really sorry about this.
Roll mine into the hole.
Sorry.
Oh, that's right. Cheat, cheat, cheat.
And that's without feeling anything.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Andy.
How you doing?
Hey, Nathan.
Good to see you.
How are you?
Thank
See you. What we have here with the headquarters of the First Tee of Connecticut here, so tightly knit with the Travelers Championship. There's stuff we do during tournament week. There's stuff we do throughout the year. It's really one of the most unique setups. So, Mark, you want to just kind of give a highlight of kind of the partnership a little bit and then what you guys do here?
Sure. This is really a year-long friendship and relationship. Most recently with the PGA Tour's Diversity, Equity, Inclusion funding that you all were nice enough to designate to our chapter. And really what that's going to allow the First Tee of Connecticut to do is continue serving young people all across the state. We were at a high of 71,000 young people impacted through our programming, and we're hoping to get back to that number in 2022 and 2023.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
Well, that's, I mean, you see the year-round stuff, right, from the clinics and things like that. And I think sometimes people think, oh, it's teaching kids how to play golf, you know, but you and I both know, we all know that golf's kind of like this much of it. I mean, you know, what you introduce from a life skills standpoint, I think that's one of the things that, Andy, to your point, make us really proud to be able to support what's going on here.
Definitely the goal is to create, you know, as we say, good golfers, better people, and really to use the game of golf when they're having a good time. And, you know, a lot of the relationship building that we all know exists, really make that possible for young people to develop confidence in themselves. First Tee really can offer that opportunity on a golf course, which is exciting.
Well, Mark, thank you for what you're doing not only here, but I mean, to your point, in the schools. I mean, the kids that are impacted, the families that are impacted. It's just this mushroom effect, obviously, of what, you know, having a PGA Tour event in your community, you're kind of the arms and legs in the community of what that means. So thanks for the work that you and your team are doing.
Thank you. We appreciate the support from Travelers and from the tournament. And we're coming right into Travelers Insurance's backyard this year, taking over the golf operations at Goodwin Park, which is one of the City of Hartford's golf courses.
Yeah, which is terrific.
So there could be a Travelers League. There could be all kinds of opportunities there.
Mark, thanks for everything you're doing.
Good to see you.
Good to
Thanks.
see you. All right.
Mark, thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Andy, Nathan.
How you doing?
Good to see you, gentlemen. Welcome to Grill 58.
Thank you very much.
Have
Thanks
a
for
seat.
having us.
Let's walk you through what we do here during the Travelers Championship.
Awesome.
David, tell us a little bit about what the difference is between tournament week in the club and a normal week.
Sure, 51 weeks of the year, obviously, we're taking care of our members and guests in Grill 58 here, and it's a la carte dining. You know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner service, coming in, ordering off the menu, certainly special requests. But during tournament week, we get to really put on a show. We get to cater to the players and their families. These are athletes, so they really want to focus on healthy eating. So whether it be egg white omelet station in the morning or during lunch, the salad bar. Then we, of course, always have that cheat station in there, you know, mac and cheese bar or paninis, those types of things. Things that I would eat, but these athletes, boy, they really want to focus on eating healthy, that's for sure.
All right, David, you take the same philosophy that we take with the tournament, right? You try to accommodate every special request, things like that. What are some kind of unique things where, you know, you see a player and their family walk in that you say, okay, you know what, now we're going to be special and treat them like they're home?
Well, you know, the great part about the Travelers Championship is the number of these players that come back year after year. We know that this tour player likes almond butter instead of peanut butter to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and take it out onto the golf course with them. We try and make sure everything that we do is customized for them, and we try and take advantage of learning about them year after year to really make the week special.
Can I get that to go? I don't have to drink it right here, right?
Well, we're about out of time, Nathan, but thank you very much for spending the time with us. This has been a great day.
Again, thank you to Travelers. I mean, all the volunteers that come, Travelers employees that do this. The tournament wouldn't be what it is without that support. So really appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Well, you know, and thank you to you and your team, to Tara, to Kevin, and all the others that make this happen. We couldn't do it without you. You're world class. You're the best on the PGA Tour, and that's why we have the best tournament on the PGA Tour. And we're really looking forward to a terrific 2022 Travelers Championship.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Nathan.
Absolutely. Let's go get something to eat.
Yeah, I'm not hungry.
So how great was that, right? Just a 10-minute overview, but just to see all the different pieces that go into putting on the week show. And it is a 52-week project every single year. So you saw them on the video. Now let me introduce them to you in person. First of all, Nathan Grube is the Executive Director of the Greater Hartford Community Foundation and the Tournament Director for the Travelers Championship. During his tenure, the Travelers Championship has generated more than $22 million for charity and has been recognized by the PGA Tour for several awards, including the most coveted Players' Choice Award and the Tournament of the Year, also the Best Charity Integration Award. Nathan is a Class A member of the PGA of America and is an active member of the Connecticut section of the PGA. He actually played professional golf from 1996 to 2001, participating in various tours throughout the United States. Then we have my friend Andy Bessette. Andy is the Executive Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer here at Travelers. He wears many hats here and has responsibility for corporate real estate, administrative services, community relations, internal investigations, among others. So notably, he has responsibility for Travelers sports sponsorships, including our marketing partnership with the PGA Tour, title sponsorship of the Travelers Championship. Andy is very active in the community, serving on the board of the Greater Hartford Community Foundation, as a trustee of the University of Connecticut, vice chairman of the Capital Region Development Authority, and past chair of the MetroHartford Alliance, just to name a few, actually. He's widely recognized for his community support and was named to the Hartford Business Journal's Power 50 again this year. So finally, Andy is also an athlete and was a member of the 1980 United States Olympic team and continues to support Olympic activities. So that was just a terrific video. And Andy and Nathan, I'm going to join you and talk just for a minute. I'm going to go to Andy first. I want to talk for a minute because we started the sponsorship in 2007.
Yeah.
Last year, we agreed to sponsor it through 2030. So while I walk over, tell us what it's like for a company to sponsor such a huge event and what goes into it from a kind of a corporate perspective first. Talk about that.
Thanks, Joan, and thanks for having us here today. It's a lot of fun. You know, it's interesting as I think back through the whole the last 22 years. You know, back in 2002, I didn't even know I was going to school again, but I did. And in Minnesota, I befriended the CEO of the Minnesota Wild, Jack Sperling, the CEO of the CEO of the Seattle Kraken NHL team, Todd Lewicki, and Eric Curry, who headed up corporate sponsorships for the Minnesota Twins. And we had sponsorships with them back there in the early 2000s. But they taught me so much. I didn't even know I was going to school to learn, but they taught me so much about how to run a professional sports event. And I learned it quickly. I mean, you know, it was the basic stuff that you might say, sure, of course it is, but they taught me how that a sports franchise is a business, and you run it like a business. You have financials, you have a profit and loss statement, and they taught me also that you treat your sponsors and your fans to world-class experiences as much as you can, and you just drive that home all the time, and that you never stop getting better. And so all of that drove us, and throughout 2002 to 2006, I was negotiating with the PGA Tour, which was very interesting, to get rid of a sponsorship we had from another company called the West Coast Swing, which was not a very good sponsorship. And so I never forget the funny part is I invited the chief marketing officer of the PGA Tour to come from Florida to St. Paul, Minnesota in January.
Oh, nice.
Best negotiating strategy I could have ever had. He froze to death, and he just gave us everything we wanted. So it was really good. But then in 2006, when we took over, we're getting ready to take over the tournament, and you fast forward to 2007, and I had all those conversations with Mike Tirico, Chris Berman, JJ Henry, the list goes on with players, broadcasters, caddies, anybody that would talk to us to let us learn. Nathan and I would sit down and talk with them. And so we learned a lot. And that all built what this means to Travelers, to be the title sponsor. This will be our 16th year, and in 2030 we will be the longest running title sponsor of this. I think it's one of the 2 or 3 oldest events on the PGA Tour. It has a lot of history here since 1952, and it's so great. It's great for our brand associated with a world-class sporting event and a world-class brand like the Red Travelers umbrella and Travelers is phenomenal. But it also, I mean, it gives us an opportunity for pride. And I always use the word pride because the word pride to me is so important in our employees, for our company, for the people in the community, for charities. Everybody's very, very proud of what we do here. And the long-term stability that our renewal to 2030 brought was really important for a lot of elements. One of them being the players always want to know they're participating in an event that's not going to go away next year. They always want stability in the event. Mm-hmm. So when Nathan and I go out, which we do 3 or 4 times a year to, I'll use the word recruit or befriend more of the golfers, it's really important for them to know Travelers, because a lot of them will say to us, thank you for renewing to 2030. It means a lot to us. And so they reward us by coming back, and that's been very, very special to us. But so that's, I mean, it's a great sponsorship, and takes a lot of work from both a lot of Travelers people and a lot of Nathan's staff and others to make this successful.
Great, great. Nathan, you're up. So Andy talked about the corporate side of it. You were kind of one of the first hires, right, for the Travelers Championship and getting it going. So from when you started in 2007 or so to where we are today, tell us what goes in from your perspective, your staff, your volunteers. We've talked to the clubhouse folks.
Yeah.
Just give us a little bit behind the scenes and maybe something people don't actually understand or know about.
Gotcha. So fair question. I mean, it is a year-round job, right? I mean, people often ask, hey, what do you do the rest of the year? And so actually there's 13 of us where this is all we do year-round. We think about this, we plan for it. We have a group of probably 30, I think we're up to, committees and thousands of volunteers. And really the business model is one that's not normal. Andy mentioned, you know, a lot of the other leagues. It's not normal for other professional sports leagues. Usually you have a company that manages it. They're trying to get as much profit out of it as possible, which it's not a bad thing. It's just a different business model. With us, we have a staff, but the majority of the help and the people that make it happen are all volunteers, so that at the end of the day, we can say, hey, we raised all this money from the tournament. We ran a good business. We ran our margins tight. We watched all of our expenses. We drove revenue. We ran a disciplined business. And guess what that means? That means that our charities actually get all that money. And Andy and I talk about that all the time to say it's such a business model that we talk about often, but it's one of the most unique ones out there because people think, oh, you know, somebody's got to be making money off this. No. The majority of the workforce is a volunteer team that actually will take time off work, get a volunteer package, drive in from out of state, be here from in-state to make this all work. If we had to actually hire all those people, there really wouldn't be the proceeds for charity. And so it's a very unique business model, but it's a year-round job that you know, we love. We sit there and, like I said, we think about this tournament every single day of the year and how we can make different pieces of it better.
Wonderful. So Andy, let's talk about this year. So everyone is so excited. There's such buzz in the air. In 2020, obviously, no fans, right?
Yeah.
And then 2021, we had 10,000 per day or so.
Yep.
This year is what? Is it going to look like 2019 again?
50,000 a day.
How many?
50,000 a day. And the standing joke is Nathan and I have a great relationship, and we beat each other up in a good way, positive way, throughout the year financially and every element of the tournament, right, Nathan?
Yeah, that's true.
But it's so good to have. Let me go back to 2020 when we had no fans. Nathan and I on Sunday night when Dustin Johnson was winning the tournament, looking around, we had 50 people, I think, on the hills.
37.
37. Okay.
37 people.
And so 37 of us, including Nathan and I, and we're over there giving each other a high five because Dustin Johnson just won. And it's like, I looked to Nathan and I can't quite report I can't say exactly what I said to him, but I said, this stinks. I mean, this is terrible. I hate this. This is depressing. And so last year when we had 10,000 and they were running back and forth with the 8-hole playoff, I was walking with Alan and I said, look at this. This is great. All those people sprinting from 18 to 17. Gosh, I hope none of them follow. Oh gosh, we ensure that
Our chief risk officer is worried about people falling.
He's worried
so for those who weren't there last year, tell us, so there was 8-hole playoff at the very end. That was the second time that ever happened in PGA history.
Yeah, the longest one in PGA Tour history was back in the late 40s. So in modern golf, I would say this is the longest that's ever been, the longest playoff ever. And to watch Harris English battle it out, and they just had, they were going back and forth, and back and forth. And I mean, we thought it was over, and then they miss a putt. But the excitement in the stands, I thought, was hilarious. And the excitement of the fans running back and forth. And, you know, I shouldn't say this exactly, but we sold more food and beverage last year with 10,000 than we ever sold with 50,000. And I always laugh with Nathan because Nathan will always say 30,000 or 40,000. And of course, I'm always saying 50. So he kicks me under the table and then we figure out what we shouldn't say. So
I think we're going to have a huge crowd. Tell us who's coming. Who's coming this year?
So, you know, right off the bat, #1 in the world, Scotty Scheffler. And Scotty's just a terrific young man. Had a long conversation with him at the Players Championship this year. And I said, hey, we want to do more with you. This is great. And he said, love it. Let's do it. And you know, the list, Rory McIlroy and Dustin Johnson, our champion from 2020, when Nathan and I were high-fiving each other, Justin Thomas, And the list goes on. And this year, at one point we had 8 of the top 10 in the world, and it keeps shifting around week to week. But our player field, I'll bet you, I'll bet you from some of the people that have called me. One person called me on a Sunday morning a couple of weeks ago and said, "Gee, I need a house. Can you help me?" I didn't even know he was playing. And I can't say his name, but ducks have webs. Web
feet?
Something. Web feet. Web.
Okay.
Web.
Yeah. Got it.
So he's not announced yet. So Nathan kicks me about that too. But they're all coming down. Now, we recruited a great field up until probably the middle of April. Now I think we're starting, Nathan, to see some of the flow from the U.S. Open being in Boston, and the players saying, "Geez, I'm right here, and Travelers does a great job. I think we're going to go down to Hartford." So
that's helping us this year, maybe with the U.S. Open being in Boston and it's a short ride down. And okay.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yep.
So what changes did you do or protocols did you put in place during the pandemic or innovations over the last couple of years, Nathan, that maybe you could talk about? Are you keeping or is there anything that we learned in the last couple of years that we can utilize?
Yes, actually, the short answer is yes. It's funny. I wouldn't have been able to tell you, hey, here's what we're going to keep until we actually went through it. Because we had to, right? I mean, there was a certain way that we did food because we had to. And we actually learned, oh my gosh, actually our sponsors will like this better than how we had been doing it before. So we've been talking to our partners about that, how we built our menus and how we just even delivered the food. It was a safety protocol, but then it became actually something that they liked even more. Digital tickets was one actually that's obviously it's still, migrating in the sports space, but we had to go to it to reduce touch points. And then some of our sponsors said, can we please keep that? And so we built out a digital ticket platform that I don't know that it would have come along as fast as it did unless we had to. How we looked at our committees, the volunteer experience, the bleachers is another one. When we couldn't build certain things, all of a sudden these sight lines opened up that we hadn't seen in probably 12 or 13 years.
Wow, okay.
And then all of a sudden we're going, wait a minute, no, let's not put a structure back there. Let's do this because the fan feedback was just really, really positive that, hey, we've gotten to be able to get so close to the tee boxes. So, I mean, those are just a few off the top that I could say that we wouldn't have done those unless we had to. But then after feedback, we're like, oh, yes, we're going to definitely keep those. The testing and the things like that, we're okay to let those go.
Yeah.
But
Testing
and the
masks,
crowd limits, I would say the crowd limits,
Yes.
Tim, we're okay to let those go. But there were definitely some good things we're going to keep.
Okay, so let's talk just a minute again about contingency planning. Andy, you're the head of return to work and return to office.
I say that all the time.
I think we were all working the last 2 years, probably harder than ever, but contingency planning and really just pivoting on a moment's notice when you're hearing different things coming in from the PGA and their protocols and their requirements. Give us a sense of that and maybe even just talk a little bit about how our return to office is going here.
Yeah. The return to office, I think, is going great. It takes time to get back in. When I came back to the office, I came back in early, right after I had my boosters. I'm sorry, my first vaccines back in March of 20. And it took me like a few weeks to get my sea legs back in. And so it takes some time to get used to it. But I think, it's a safe environment, and I think it's going very well. And, it kind of runs in parallel to the tournament as well, because Nathan and I, for the last 2 years, 3 years, have been doing contingency planning, Joan, as you said, to figure out, like, if we have to pivot at the last minute, what are we going to do? If all of a sudden testing's required or masks are required, the good thing, the good thing about the sport of golf is it's played outside in great wide open spaces. And so that makes it much safer. I mean, all the medical professionals will tell you if you're outside, you're pretty safe. And so I think that element of it works to our advantage. I think that but Nathan and I being, well, what if this happens? What if that? We have contingency plans on top of contingency plans. And even this year, with our contingency plan, right, Nathan, was that, okay, listen, we have to make sure that all of the tents that we're building, the venues with air conditioning and closed sides, that those tent sides can be taken off within a few days, a week of the tournament if we have to be open air.
Okay.
And so we have that contingency ready for this year. And some companies that buy them may want to leave them closed, some may want to open them, but we have flexibility to do it. And so we're really excited that I think, knock on wood, right? We've taken care of planning around all the possible outcomes. You can never guess everything because we can't control COVID and we can't control the PGA Tour. And so we'll just work through it all and see how things progress. But I think it's going to be a wide open tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of people are going to be out there,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully are eating and drinking even more than last year, Nathan, so we can make even more money.
Okay, so eating and
Charity.
drinking is the goal, right? Making sure people are buying their, definitely.
My
Okay.
goal has been, and Nathan will tell you, for the last 3 or 4 years, because I do like to eat. You can tell I'm not a small guy. I love to eat. I think I want this to be the culinary experience of the PGA Tour.
Love it.
I wanted to have the best cheeseburgers and the best barbecue. We're not there yet, but we're getting there.
Getting there. Okay, let's talk at the heart of it all about charity, right? So we saw in the video a wonderful piece about the first tee, and give us a little bit, Andy, from your perspective, and then Nathan, I want to ask you about how other charities can get involved here. But first, Andy, how does it work when we say net proceeds go to charities? So talk about that for a minute, and how many total charities right now are recipients of like the last couple of years?
Yeah, every year we have well over 100 charities who are receiving funding from us. And, and every year, last year was over 2.2 million. And since the beginning, since we took over in 2007, it's been over 22 million. And so Nathan and I work really hard. And I mean, don't get it wrong, Nathan runs a tournament. I'm just there to help him. And so, but we work really hard together to make sure that all the net proceeds go to charity. And it so fits into the ethos of Travelers, to connect it back for a second to our title sponsorship, where it's so connected to what we do. And Marlene Ipsen and her team do such great work. We give Travelers Corporation, it gives over $22 million a year to different organizations to be helpful. And there's hundreds of thousands of hours of volunteerism, and Alan Schnitzer's special projects that he does every year. And it's phenomenal, the breadth of what we do here at Travelers. So the tournament fits right in. It's the ethos of Travelers. It's the ethos of the Travelers Championship. We don't, why, I shouldn't say, why sponsor a sport that makes a wealthy owner wealthier?
Right. No, it's wonderful, and it really aligns with the Travelers Promise, right? Is take care of each other and communities that we serve. So, Nathan, to you. So, what if you're a charity listening out there and you're not currently one of the 100? Can they get in on potentially a potential beneficiary of the proceeds as well?
Short answer, yes.
Okay.
Any nonprofit can get involved with the Travelers Championship that's watching, because here's a few years back when Travelers started, there's only so many net proceeds, right? Like, I mean, the tournament, there is a cap on how much the tournament is going to make. Like, that is a finite number. What we then tried to figure out was, how do we not have to ever say no to a charity? And so the Birdies for Charity program is a program that we created where we can say yes to every single charity. And what we do is we help them raise money. And any money that they raise, we get them 15 cents on every dollar that they raise. So there's a bonus pool of money that our sponsors, Andy mentioned them, our sponsors chip in, to where any charity can get involved. And we can help them. Two things. What we found out is this, over this process: charities need money, but they also need a platform to tell their story. There are some amazing charities out there where they've said, I can't tell anybody what we're doing because I don't have a microphone. I don't have a platform. I don't have it. And so what we do is we say, look, get involved with the tournament. We'll get you interviews during tournament week. We'll get you on the radio prior to. And so some charities might not get, millions of dollars through the tournament. They get a $10,000 check, which is great. But then they said, oh my gosh, I got to tell my story and I got X amount more donors. So we try very hard to give them a platform as well as funds. So any charity, email us, go on our website, travelerchampionship.com. We can find a way to get you involved.
I think it's priceless, because you're giving them that platform and the notice in the community, again, to tell the story that they would not have had. So it's hard to put a value on that, right? In terms of what they get in return. So let me tell the audience out here, we're going to take a lot of your questions coming up and online as well. So submit them through the Q&A function and we'll get to as many questions as we can. But I want to talk about a program that I came to Travelers 14 years ago. And one of the programs we started in those early years, at least my being here, was Women's Day. And so a special place in my heart being among the group that started that with you, Andy and Nathan. And Andy, tell us about Women's Day. When we started, early on, we weren't sure anybody would come, right? And the purpose was to get more women out to the course, more women involved in golf.
Right.
I'll tell you a little secret. I never played golf in my life, and during COVID, I had a little extra time. Don't tell the CEO, but took up golf, right? And as one of my friends says, "You don't suck, Joan." So that's my new line. I don't suck at golf
Quite the
now.
endorsement.
I
Love
know.
it.
It's fair. I have wonderful friends
Yeah.
and a few of my family members. So getting more women involved in golf, and again, I would have never taken it up had I not had COVID hit. But have we been successful in getting more women out to the course over the years for Women's Day and then playing golf?
You know, and Joan, you're spot on in those early years. I wasn't sure. I mean, I knew we had a good plan because the PGA Tour had a version of Women's Day. We built our own version, and we've always had a high-profile guest speaker, right? And then we've had some other very good second speakers too, and we're going to do the same thing this year. And we grew it from probably 100 to a couple of hundred women the first year. Now it sells out in 15 minutes, and we have an attendance of 700 to 800.
700 to 800 less.
700 to 800.
Right.
I mean, that's unbelievable. And you know what the good part is? Yes, in the beginning it was to get women more exposed to golf and come out and see what it's all about, because this is not the LPGA Tour, it's the PGA Tour. And so I think that's worked very successfully. And even my wife, who doesn't like golf at all, loves coming out because it's just a fun day. And that's all okay. That's great. That's what we wanted to do. And I've seen build over the 14 years. So I think we started in 2009. And as I see collaboration, and I see the women of Travelers, because we have a lot of our own employees attending, like to the 250 to 300 level, and they're talking to each other, they're collaborating, they're getting exposed to really good leaders. I mean, yes, the part of Women's Day is entertainment, but a lot of it's educational, like how a young woman can succeed. And there's a young woman, Amanda Balionis, who's one of the announcers on the CBS team. She does terrific interviews. She's a terrific person, and she's going to help us out with this year. But if a young woman wants to kind of listen to a young woman who has become successful, boy, I'll tell you, Amanda would be a really good model. So we tried to do that over 14 years, and it's grown into one of the best on the PGA Tour, I believe.
Yeah, and there's a lot of buzz about men wanting to get in and see what's all about. And
we have more men that come every year, a lot, actually,
good.
quite a few.
It's good. All right, Nathan, I want to talk to you about the military aspect of this, because I know a couple of years I've been involved in Operation Shower. Tell us what that is about. And also there's an outpost, correct? So if you're in the military and you come to the tournament, what is your experience?
So hopefully a very good one, I will say that, and one that you feel taken care of. And this goes back, Joan, to Andy mentioned the word ethos of Travelers, as far as, I mean, there is a care and a concern and a place for the military within this company, and there is at the tournament as well. And I grew up the military brat. I grew up, my father's in the Navy, and so I have a special place for the military in my heart. And so when we started looking at the military appreciation platform at the Travelers Championship, it was an easy marriage partnership to say, hey, what can we do to say thank you to men and women in and out of uniform for what they've done, and just a small thank you. I mean, obviously you can never thank for what they've dedicated their lives to the service of our country. So in the most basic way, how do we get the tickets taken care of? Getting sponsors to subsidize that. How do we get an outpost where they get free food and beverage and a place to go during the week to just come out and experience this and spend time with their family? Maybe they've been
so if I'm in the military, I can bring my family and go to and get a free lunch at the tournament.
Absolutely.
And where is that, and what's it called?
It's called the Outpost, the military outpost, and we actually moved it this year. One of the things we learned during COVID. We're actually going to put it over on the 9th hole, so right near one of the gates, a little bit more easily accessible, still a view of golf. There's some tournaments that have an outpost, but maybe you can't actually see golf. We really felt that it was important to make sure that having a view of golf on the golf course was good. So that is a piece of it. But then you mentioned Operation Shower. We kind of took the military experience. We said, how do we do more? And so you've been a part of this. You've seen this. We throw a surprise baby shower for 40, 50 military moms whose husbands, partners are deployed. And they come out to the golf course, and we throw them this baby shower, and they get all these gifts, and they just get, I mean, we try to love on them and say, hey, thank you so much for, your service. And again, kind of remembering the stories that my mom would tell when my dad was in Vietnam, like she was alone, I mean, she had multiple kids. I'll never forget, Joan, one of the moms one year said, I was talking to her, And I said, how's it going? She said, well, my husband's deployed. And I said, do you have any help? And she goes, oh yeah. My son, he helps, like he does this. And she was pregnant. And I said, oh, how old's your son? And she said, 2. And I went, and in my mind, I'm going, I've had 2 2-year-olds, and help is not a word that I would use to define. But like, she was like, she was figuring it out, right? Like, and just to be able to say thank you to those moms for the role that they play in this whole military ecosystem it's a really special day. And so we have Operation Shower, and that's a group that we just can't say thank you to enough, but we're really, really proud of that aspect of the event.
And that's outside of what we're talking about, the charitable. That's in addition to, right?
Yes,
That's in addition to it. So what about the Birdies for Charity? So Andy, talk about this, because I know on the inside page for a lot of our employees, what is the Birdies for Charities? How can people get involved there?
Well, I'll let Nathan explain the details of it. Basically, it's a great program where a charity can sign up to participate, and then they run their program and they get matching dollars. The tournament matches 15 cents on the dollar.
Correct. You've done your homework. Nice job.
Well, I'm never sure what changes, right? It's like changes in a pivot, but so they're getting 15 cents on the dollar. So it behooves all these charities to go out and have all kinds of campaigns around the tournament, and they raise tremendous amounts of dollars. Matter of fact, last year, I'm stealing your thunder, but I'm going to say it about it. Nathan and his staff have taken the Birdies program from where it was in year 1. And where it was when year 1 was like 10,000, 20,000?
And that's generous, yeah.
Generous, okay. So 10 or 20,000.
Yeah.
And I said, Nathan, like a typical business guy, benchmark that for me. What's that mean? What's that compare? Oh, well, the one in Arizona has like 5 million. Whoa. So this past year, we actually Nathan and his team surpassed $1 million in Birdies for Charity. And I think that's just that's so special. That means a ton to a lot of different charities, and we're matching 15 cents on the dollar, and we have corporate sponsors who sponsor the match. I believe Webster is still doing that.
Yeah.
And so does the players have to get a birdie, right, in order to get the match? Where does the birdie part come in?
Kind of actually just a fun name.
Oh, it's a fun name.
Yeah,
Okay.
if the guys shoot 84 over, the charities still get the
Just do it. Okay.
So,
okay, good.
But it's one of those things. I have to say thank you to Taylor Whiting on our team, on the staff. She, again, we think about the tournament year round. She thinks about the charities year round and is answering questions and helping hold their hand to say, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? And she is all design material, donations, credit card fees. We cover 100% of every expense. So a charity of one person can knock on our door and say, look, I have no money. How can I get involved in Birdies? And we can say, here's your marketing material. Here's draft letters to your board and your donors. Here's some prizes. We'll take care of all the credit card fees for any donation, and we'll give you free money, and we'll give you a platform to tell your story. And charities will stop her and go, I'm sorry, what?
So you just give them this whole packet. It's on a silver platter.
Entire
they don't have to hardly do any work, right?
They don't really have to, other than they have to have a cause and they have to be a registered 501c3.
Right.
But what it is, I mean, we have found there's all these amazing groups doing these phenomenal things in Connecticut and in New England. But it goes back to, Joan, I will never get tired of saying this. It is the mission of the PGA Tour. We get, as a tournament, not as a title, as a tournament, we get evaluated by how much money we are raising for charity every year. Obviously, it's important, but the PGA Tour looks at it and says, what are you doing for your community? What are you doing for the nonprofits within a 100-mile radius? And how are you helping them all grow money and awareness? That is who the PGA Tour is.
Wow, now that I'll bet a lot of people in this audience did not know, that you get rated by the PGA. So what other professional sport do you know? Raise your hand. Is it basketball that's doing this in charity? Is it baseball? Is it hockey? I mean, what other professional sport is doing it all for charity?
Zero.
I'm gonna expand on that, John. If you combine what Major League Baseball, the NBA, NASCAR, NFL, if you combine in a year what they do for charity and what they give away, the PGA Tour gives in 1 year more than all of those combined. Like, let that sit for a second and think about that. To anybody listening, that is a massive number, because what we're doing right here, and we're generating this money for charity and it's going out into our community, is happening every single week. So the PGA Tour as a whole, when you align with that brand and what they're doing, very, very different mission than the other professional sports organizations out there.
So Andy, as a Travelers employee, I mean, just stop for a minute, because we could be sponsoring NBA or national, MLB or hockey teams or other things, right? And to align ourselves with a professional sports team that's about charity, I mean, that really is our fabric in our DNA. So as Travelers employees out there, you should all feel very proud of it.
There's no other choice. I mean, there's only one choice. And when we first started this back in the early 2000s, we surveyed, right? We're travelers, we survey things. We surveyed And golf is the #1 sport of insurance. Our agents love golf, right? Our brokers love golf. Our customers love golf. Everybody loves golf. It seems like around insurance. And so it was the game. It was the game that was most important for us. But then when you look at that, Joan, you're right. You look at that and you align it with the ethos of who Travelers is and Travelers Promise and what we want to do and give back to the communities we're in as far as volunteerism and charity and financial. I mean, it just aligns so well. And it has so many helpful. Here's an example. One quick example is a couple of years we brought dogs.
Dogs?
And they were service dogs, right?
Canines for warriors.
And I think I actually was crying a little bit because, I mean, when they give the dog to the military person, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Really? And the dogs are so sweet. I love dogs anyway. I think we all love dogs.
You're a softie, Andy.
And well, Nathan loves dogs too. And but I think that when you look at that and you say, oh, we should, and each dog costs $20,000.
Yeah, how they're trained and everything.
Turn it
yeah.
into a service dog?
Turn into a service dog. But to do
What a
that,
gift to give.
we should
Yeah.
do that every year. So anyways, we have
Great,
things like that
great.
that really move you. Operation Shower always moves. Nathan and I, we were crying together the first year we did it.
I think I was there crying with you once.
I think you were crying with us.
I'm a crier.
Pretty much cried at every event.
Yeah.
So
We're criers. It's okay.
Yeah.
We have a ton of audience questions coming up, so we're going to get to those, but I want to ask you rapid fire, okay?
Yeah.
What was your favorite moment from any of the years, player-wise, a wife maybe, what she had to say? By the way, Bruce Koepka's wife said our tournament was one of the best in a number of the wives, right?
Yeah.
They,
Oh, I
why do
did
the
see that,
wives
yeah.
love our tournament? Ask her that first, then
Whoa.
I want your best memory.
Oh gosh, I would say that I think they know that Andy and I are out there on tour and we ask how to make it better.
How to make it
And
better for
I
them.
would for them. I mean, how can we make your experience better? So what we started to do, I'll talk about the wives specifically. We found out our daycare program in 07 and 08 wasn't the best. So we flipped the location, flipped the experience, and now kids come in from daycare because what happens is these players travel with their families, but they want to make sure the kids are getting an education, they're in school, so they go to daycare 3 to 4 days a week
Really?
of the tournament weekend.
Oh, wonderful.
And so
Okay.
there is a location that we work with the tour, but the tournament is responsible for food, location, and activities outside of their education programs. So some tournaments like, hey, here you go, let's pop in a video, and they can do that. We completely rebuilt it, and the kids come in from daycare with their faces painted, holding a milkshake and a traveler's dog, and like, this is the best experience ever, and you get a mom or a dad going, oh my gosh, my kids had a great time this week, like for the smallest reasons, how the waffles were.
Yeah.
They talk about them for 6 months, and we hear about it. So we did 50 little things like that, Joan. Parking, hotels, refrigerators, making sure they were equipped, daycare, but that was a big one too. And they pay attention to that. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
they actually care.
Of course
They
we
listen.
care.
So,
Yes,
Um,
yes,
And that's a small story, but
Okay.
that matters. I can
No,
tell you 10 more. But
that matters. Okay, favorite memory. Andy, you first.
I got two.
Okay.
So one, and I know you're gonna think I'm a wimp, but we send out onesies
Onesies?
to all one baby onesie
Baby onesies.
with an umbrella on the chest. Pink for girls, white if we're not sure, blue for boys, whatever, right? And so I always write a personal note. I write the note, and I always write it. I love this. This is one of the most fun parts of what I do. Don't tell Alan this, but I say, "Dear Azalea," because I did write this to Sergio Garcia's daughter when she was born. I
Okay.
said, "Dear Azalea, welcome to the world. I think you're going to have a great life. Your mom and dad are really nice people. They're going to take care of you. Here is a onesie for you to enjoy. I only ask one favor in return, and that is to ask your mom and dad to bring you to the Travelers Championship so that we can give each other a hug."
Legit.
I legit, and I write hundreds of these, and Matt Bordonaro can attest to it. I mean, I write these things
So
I-
anytime a pro player has a baby
Yep.
in their family, you're sending them a onesie, a
to the
traveler's
baby,
onesie.
to the baby,
To the baby,
not to the
and
parents.
asking them, please bring
And-
your parents.
And then
Good,
what
smart.
do you think happens next? Sergio's wife writes me back a note. She said, "Dear Andy, you made me cry. I'm going to keep your note till Azalea gets older and she can read it because it was so good. I'm so emotional." And she's going on, and I'm like, you know what? That's exactly.
You
I
want
think-
that feeling.
Yeah, that's it, right? That's we treat the players and their wives. People say, "What's the secret sauce?" We treat people like human beings, and we treat people like we want to be treated. And that's always been my motto in life. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and you'll be pretty good. You'll never go too far off. Okay, so on the golf side, I have maybe two. I think when Jim Furyk shot his 58, oh my gosh, I've never seen such calamity in my life, and people running around. Hey, here on the front nine, he shot like 5,200. I mean, it was crazy.
Yes.
I love that. That was great. And at the time, he came up the chute when he was done, and he stopped and talked to Jay Fishman, and Jay passed away a couple of weeks later. And I just thought it was such a special moment in golf and in sport, with an athlete, with a fan, with a title sponsor. But I just thought that was such an emotional time. I looked at that, and to this day, I still picture it, and it moves me every time I think of it. But I think too, Patrick Cantlay. I love it when young guys, young athletes do well. Patrick Cantlay is an amateur at UCLA, and he shoots a 60. First amateur to ever shoot a 60 in a PGA Tour event at our event. People were equally going crazy. It was a Friday night, and people were running around. It was dark out, and it's like everybody's trying to get their head around what just happened.
Wow.
And of course, you have the Spieth chip in, and you have the 8-hole playoff last year. But those are the things that move me. I think there are some really moving things that happen around the Travelers Championship. And the more, we bring the most agents, brokers, we bring the most guests to tournament week of any PGA Tour event in the country.
Is that right?
Yep.
Our agent and brokers community.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Most in the country by far. Some
all the
companies bring
agent
it
and brokers
from
on the call are going to be calling you, Andy. You know
I
this, right?
know, I can just see this now, but
our favorite agents in California and Chicago, they're going to be calling you. So
I should have thought twice before I said that, but still,
it's okay.
It's a badge of courage. It's something we're really proud of on the tour, that we can have that many guests.
Yeah.
during
Wonderful.
tournament week.
Wonderful. All right, Nathan, you're up. So Andy had 4 or 5 favorite, I think. I mean,
right? You misunderstood the question.
I'll give you the same leeway.
I would say I'll do one. I think when Bubba Watson won his first PGA Tour event, and it was here, and he's standing on the green. He ended up winning it on 16, and he just loses it. He putts in. He's hugging his wife. It was before they had adopted their children, and it was before his father had passed.
Yeah.
And I'm standing on the back of the cart trying to get them back up to sign his card, and kind of do that whole deal. And he's on the phone with his dad. And I mean, I'm going to get emotional talking about it. He is bawling, crying, saying, "Dad, we did it." And his dad was sick at the time. And he's on the phone, and Bubba talks about that. He goes, my dad died after that. I never got to, he got to have that moment with me that I won on the PGA Tour. And I felt embarrassed. Like, I'm standing on the back of the cart. I'm like,
awkward. Yeah.
I should jump off. Like, this is a personal moment, we're like riding up, and I'm like, but this is amazing. And I'm leaning out, I'm leaning in. So, but I mean, you have moments like that where, their lives are happening in the midst of the tournament.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty impactful.
You can have another one. Another story?
I think honestly, when Furyk walked up the hill and stopped. I mean, Jim just set history, right? PGA Tour history.
He's from my hometown, Jim Furyk.
Oh,
is he?
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
he was in the neighboring. We didn't belong to a country club, but yeah. So that was very special.
So he does that, and it's a record that probably is not going to be broken for 50 years, right? And he's walking up, and the media is just in his face. And this is Jim's moment. He is going in the World Golf Hall of Fame for this moment. Everything. And Jay, if many of you know Jay, he was quiet, sitting at the top of the hill. And Jim walks up and sees Jay, takes off his hat, and it was no longer Jim's moment, it was Jay's moment. Because Furyk knew that if Jay hadn't have stepped in with Travelers to take over the title sponsorship, the tournament was gone and over, and Jim never could have had this moment. And to see Jim put himself aside and look at Jay, and it was so sincere, to Andy's point, it was like, that is a phenomenal moment. And that was pretty cool as well.
Okay, guys, it is that time. So we're going to go really rapid fire.
Right.
Okay, you have to have short answers here.
One.
One
answer.
question we have.
I got it.
How are the player pairings on Thursday picked? So on Thursday, how do you get paired up?
So I don't know if everybody knows this. Every player is ranked by the television networks on their popularity, call it. There's a certain amount of rating. And what the tour does is they work with Golf Channel, CBS, NBC, and they break the groups up from a television standpoint. So Andy and I wish we could say we were super smart, we had something to do with it, but we don't. Actually, that's the tour and CBS and the Golf Channel, NBC. So.
Okay, good. So then we're going to go, Andy, this was maybe for you. How many different size blue blazers do you set aside? And I assume for the Masters too. So, we got a 42 regular, we got a 46 long. I mean, what are those jacket sizes that you can anticipate for all the players? How many do we buy?
We go from 30 to 52 in half sizes. And so do the
Really?
math. Oh yeah, we must have 40 different plus blazers in all sizes. And then you have to go long, short, right?
Mhm.
Long, short.
So then you
Yep.
got long, short. We have a lot of blazers.
Okay. All right. Audience question. Go ahead. Jessica, why don't you read one off there?
Yeah, our audience wants to know, will there be any concerts this year or special fan experience events?
So I can touch it. So the fan zone is something we I would say introduced years ago, right? How do you have things for people to do that outside of golf? And my kids were part of it. They were going down there getting their face painted and doing all these activities. So the fan zone finally is back this year, which we are thrilled about. We haven't had it for 2 years, so they're going to have a chance to do that. The concerts, we're not going to have the concerts on property this year. We're actually looking to do some stuff in Hartford, but actually on the golf course this year they won't be. But that will be something you can look forward to hopefully in the future.
But the Travelers Chipping Challenge is back.
Good.
We haven't had
Five
it for 2
popular-
years.
I'm going to be good this year, Andy. gonna be
You'll
good.
chip it right on there and you
Yeah.
get a free prize. You could get a putter or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's back. It's back in
Okay.
full force. We're going to have some of the PGA Tour pros down there on Wednesday because they're working Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But on Wednesday, we'll have them down there pitching with you.
All right, Jessica, do we have another audience question coming in?
Yeah, the audience wants to know where they can get Travelers Championship swag.
Swag. You can buy it at the tournament,
Lots
right?
of different ways. You can answer cool trivia, I would say, online. No, but yeah, we have a huge merchandise operation that we set up during tournament week, and we partner with TPC River Highlands, and it's overlooking the practice facility. And I mean, you can only get certain things at the tournament, which is pretty cool. So it'll be tournament week. There's a huge merch tent that we have all kinds of fun stuff.
All
Good
right.
swag.
Good swag. Jessica, do we have another audience question?
How do you measure the success for the Travelers Championship?
Well, that's actually pretty easy. I mean, we look at the quality of the field because remember back to those people that taught me everything about sports management. You always make sure you provide a world-class experience for your sponsors and your fans.
Mhm.
And so having a world-class field, and some years we have 8 of the top 10, some years we might have 3 or 4 of the top 10, but we always have people in the top 10. So we always have great fields, and to me, that's a measure of success. And then, of course, the net proceeds. Giving to charity is really, really important, and giving back to the community. And I think, I can't measure this, but pride, right? We always want to do things that create pride by our employees, by the communities, by citizens, by people, golf fans. Just be proud of what's happening here. So those are kind of things, Nathan. I don't know if you think.
I would agree with all 3 of those. It's funny. I will tuck my badge in my shirt and pull down my hat, put on my sunglasses, and walk through the crowds, measuring that pride factor, right? Just listening to how people are perceiving it, listening to what they're talking about. And I get so excited because people are so proud of the event. You know, it's contagious. You walk around, you're like, oh yeah, I'm proud of it too. And people are like, calm down.
He always
calm
says
down,
this,
calm
and it
down."
cracks me up. He was like, really, Nathan? Just because you pull your hat down, you walk.
Yeah,
outside,
I mean,
they don't know who you are.
You better try
Nobody
that,
has any
Andy.
idea.
You should try that, Andy.
Yeah, I'll try that. Yeah, right.
No, we're so grateful to have you running the tournament. I mean, really,
Yes.
Nathan, your
So much fun.
leadership
Yeah.
has been, and I know Andy, echoes this, but your leadership has been your creativity and innovation, right? To always,
Yeah.
always make it better for the next year and
And
for the fans.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say our teams. I mean,
Teams.
Nathan and I
Sure.
can only do so much. We can lead our teams. And hey, listen, Nathan and I are best friends. I mean, we would do anything for each other. Well, at least I'd do anything for you. No, we're kidding. but I think that our teams are what's so important.
Right.
Nathan's team is world class. Our team at Travelers that supports this. I mean, in total, you probably have 50 people working part-time, not full-time, but part-time on this.
Yeah.
And without that team, we can win any awards we want. We can call anybody, whatever, blah, blah. But I think that what's really important is that the Travelers companies as a title sponsor should be very, very proud of what our teams are doing and what's creating and what Nathan's doing with his team. And Nathan's team runs the thing, and they're world-class by all measures. I cannot think of one that's not.
I have to say, I appreciate you saying that, and Joan, I appreciate you calling. I have to say that we are so lucky. There are 2 senior members of our team, Tara Gerber and Kevin Harrington, and they've been here as long as I have, 16 plus years.
Wow.
And to have your core leadership team be here for that long,
Consistent.
you're not relearning, you're not rebuilding. We're literally going forward a step or 2 every year. So to have them be this committed to this event, to have the 3 of us, and then to Andy's point, the Travelers resources behind it, there's a reason why things are happening. It's not by accident. We wouldn't be able to do it without that. So.
You get Matt Bordnero, my team now, and and he's been involved through the whole communications world for a long time, and John Morris and advertising, and the list goes on and on. We've got so much great leadership at Travelers, and the Travelers Way. We don't just give you money and do something. We're always going to be a part of
We're
it.
going to be a part of it. We're going to be engaged.
Yep.
So our time has come to an end, and we could go on and on. We're going to do this again next year and bring you back. But really good luck this year. We're really excited about the field, certainly, and I know more players will be announced. We're not going to give that away. We'll announce the Women's Day keynote speaker coming up. So a lot of things, to watch your inbox for. But I want to also ask my audience, if you would be so kind, help us out. So we have a survey in the chat feature. We'd love to know what you thought of today's program. Also, what you thought of this video, right? Should we do more videos, these 10, 15-minute videos on our Wednesday session? So please give us some feedback because we'd like to improve. Also, let us know whether topics you'd like to hear, insurance or non-insurance. So I want to thank my guests today. Really, really great stuff. And thank you for being here. Upcoming webinars on May 25th, everyone. We have a telematics webinar. And then June 1st, of course, the kickoff of hurricane season. So we're going to talk about kicking off hurricane season and protecting your valuable assets. Then June 8th, we're going back to a very, very popular topic on our webinars, which is cybersecurity. And we're going to talk about if you've been hacked, what you do first, second, and third. And then June 29th, very, very important topic on nuclear verdicts in the insurance space and in the jury system. So the exponential rise of nuclear verdicts in litigation. So thank you again for joining us in person, online. We hope to do a lot more of these in person, and connect with me on LinkedIn or take our surveys. Tell your friends about our sessions. We're really glad to have all of you join us. So again, Andy and Nathan.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, my friends.
Thank you.
Great.